It's trash day, I'm putting you out, it's trash day. Putting you out, it's trash day. Putting you out of my mind. It's trash day, I'm putting you out, it's trash day. I'm putting you out, trash day, I'm putting you out of my mind. Now I'm gonna clean up, now I'm gonna clean up, now I'm gonna clean up the house. I'm taking all your garbage, taking all your garbage, taking all your garbage.
It starts with some beer, so you shouldn't have fear. Two garbage guys with facts, but they both still have tact. It's that time at last for the best damn podcast. It's Can Crusher Day!
And welcome to Can Crushers, the first edition in November 2019. However the hell you want to call it. It is the day after IWC Winner Takes All, the week after Crown Jewel. And there's just so much to talk about this week on Can Crushers. So I have to break it down. Not like DX. I just need to break it down and give everybody something to do while I just ride along into the sunset with them, because we have moved into our new studio, aka new house, aka we also do not have TV, because let me tell you this quick story. Dish Network, when you sign up for them, they will do whatever the hell you want instantly. Once you're a customer, you step back and you say, hey, I'm moving into this house, and you call a week or two in advance. I'm moving into this house, said day, this day, did this, they still tell you, we can't come down until this day, sir, because of this, this, and this. So then you put up a fight and you say, hey, this, I can go to Comcast, I can go to DirecTV, I can go to a stick and Hulu and this and that. And then when you finally get them to commit to a day, granted it's not the day that you want, you still get some discounts on the end. So at least I'm getting the discounts on the end. I still don't have TV until next week. Well, some TV, because we have the stick. We get some stuff. So nonetheless, you'll get Soup, you'll get IRS, and you'll get the return of the Guru Chad today on the show. And everything is everywhere. So we're going to lead with last night's IWC Winner Takes All. So let's just talk to Soup right now. So diving right into Winner Takes All, IWC's one of their big events. Soup, welcome to the show. IRS, Soup, Nate, whatever the hell you want to be called. Last night was a party at Court Time Sports Center.
It was a great time, like always. Thanks for having me back, Can Crusher Nations. How's it going? IRS here, Soup, Nathan. Call me anything but late for dinner. I don't care. But it's good to be back and talking some IWC.
It is. It really is. And what a great card, IWC. But the guy in me, and I have to call out 2-to-1 video, Jeremy, damn it, you came up late to invite me backstage to say watch some of the nerdy stuff, because the whole second half of the card I was into. Nothing was wrong with the first half, but the whole second half, my girls were on it. I was just pumped up. Next month, I'm going to come back early and watch the nerdy stuff.
Yeah, that was a stacked card. That is for sure. Your nerdy stuff, that I thought it would have been cool. I was telling you, I'm like, why don't you go back? And you were like, this next match, though. And I look at the card, I'm like, you're right. The whole second half was stacked. Nothing against the first half either, because there was a lot of good matches there, too.
But I do have one big thing I have to call out Jeremy for.
What's that?
The mic system sucked last night. I didn't like it.
See, at first, I know Jock Sampson, he was screaming into the mic, so and it sounded a little rough there, but he was just that hyped up, I think. Later on in the night, it got a little better, but there were some spots I know what you mean.
Yeah. All right. But other than that, that's the only thing I'm going to nitpick about. Well, no, I'm going to nitpick about two other things. The guy in front of me, Tom, got pushed by Bulk Nasty to take his chair. The guy behind me, it was you, gave Argos his chair.
No, Rhino.
Rhino the chair. And I'm standing in the middle and offering anything. My wife, my firstborn, myself. Nobody wants to work with me. What the hell?
See, I don't know. I'm working with you now, so I can't speak for them. I don't know. But yeah, it was an honor. I saw Rhino. I was like, oh, they did that shit in ECW. Take my chair. And he came over, took my chair, and hit the champ with it. And I did later apologize to Argos. I am a big Team Storm guy. I told him, hey, I'm sorry, but that was cool. I hope you won, though.
Well, we'll find out if he won. Sidebar is I have Argos's elbow pad and a pizza pad that blasted him in the face.
Yes, that was great. After the show, I was blasting myself. I'm like, oh, this does hurt. Damn. And but yeah, that was real cool. I was kind of mad. You caught Argos's. I was like, oh, I was going to push it. But I was like, no, I'll stay back.
It wasn't Jimmy Nuts's.
Right.
All right, so the night starts off with a pre-show, and it's Dan Hooven defending his high-stakes championship against Jamie Jamison. And Hooven says, hey, it's going to be a submission match. How did you like this?
Yeah, that was a mix-up. Most of the time, the high-stakes title, it's something crazy. It's a spaghetti match. It's a what's another one? It's a Canadian rules match where you can't have your tape longer than, an inch and a half?
Inch and a half, yep.
On your wrist. So yeah, we're used to some crazy stuff. Hooven came out, he's a tough guy, and he wanted, a submission. So it was a good mix-up for sure.
Yeah, and Hooven, I never pictured Hooven being the master of the Kikoda clutch.
Yeah, he looks like a brawler guy, but he threw some technician stuff out there tonight, showing he's an all-around, and let's see if he can carry this high-stakes division for a while. Facing Jamie Jamison, though, he's a brawler too, so it was a good match back and forth. And Hooven, he came out with a statement to make, and he did it on Facebook where a lot of people could see him, and he kept on to that belt. So it was a good match.
Yeah, we love Hooven. We really do on Can Crushers. And
he's a Can Crusher alumni.
He is a Can Crusher alumni. You're doing your homework. The English professor will be proud of you.
Good.
I'm still stuck on Jamie.
We did miss you last night, Professor. I wanted to mention that. We missed you last night.
You did.
Yeah.
I'm still stuck on Jamie Jamison. I say this, and we say this every month. He's the big show. He's good. He's bad. He's stuck in this kind of character that we don't know where he's at. And we want to like him, but we need something from him.
Yeah, he's stuck in a limbo. Like you just said, he goes back and forth. He's a good guy one month. He's a good guy or a bad guy the next month, depending on who his opponent is. And I'd like to see him go on a mean streak. He's one of the bigger guys on the roster.
Yes.
I want to see him get mean and beat people up because he's another brawler, just like Hooven, but just that limbo got him stuck. I don't know what else to say.
You're saying he could be down and dirty?
He could be locked and loaded at the same time, though. You never know.
So the main show starts, and it's the Regulators against Steak and Eggs. Go first,
Crowd was
because
hot.
This was amazing.
Crowd was hot to kick off the show. Great opening match. Everybody hates the Regulators, and everybody's loving some Steak and Eggs. Xander, a rookie, he's in his rookie season. And he's making a big statement, and man, is Bulk a face?
Can Bulk read now?
There was a Bulk reads good chant last night. I was shocked. I love the stick the Regulators came out with. They brought books out. They had Catcher in the Rye and the Notebook. Who knows what they had? But then they pull out they pull out. I know. They pull out Elmo's Taking a Bath book, like a kindergarten reading level. It was great. Good intro into the show. But just Steak and Eggs are hot. Everybody's loving Steak and Eggs, and they get a big win here. Are they a threat for the IWC Tag Team titles?
And Bulk doesn't even say that he won the match this time. You know how he always says that?
Yes. This was the first month where he didn't grab the ring announcer and say the winners are Bulk Nasty and Bulk Nasty. He let them go with Steak and Eggs, Xander, and Bulk. He did beat the hell out of Xander, though, too, at the end. Saved him, but still got him beat up. Who knows? But they got the win.
Not as bad because it was Xander's mom's birthday. So I think the present was leaving Xander live.
Yes. Yes, you don't want to kill him in front of his mom, of course. That'd be tough.
So prior to the matches as well, Justin Plummer comes on and welcomes us and everything and says, hey, we're finding out that ROH is right down the road from us at Stage A&E, and there's some inside information coming back and forth, and by the end of the night we find out, or we're going to find out, who has the larger crowd, and we're like, oh my god. Quick story. On my way down to Pittsburgh, I get a phone call. Hey, I got a seat for you. ROH, second row, seat 10, blah, 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 blah. You got to be kidding me. This is awesome. It's ROH. Yeah, I want to go. But it's also my anniversary weekend. In the car with me as I'm talking to somebody is my wife. So I got one seat to ROH. Or I have 2 seats reserved at IWC because my wife wants to go and we're going to do some drinking afterwards, this, that, and the other. I have to turn down ROH. And from everything that we hear by the end of the night, I made the right decision.
I think you did because, IWC's been hot. They got the network now. They're putting on great shows. They got name recognition around the area from some of their stars moving on to bigger and better things. And at the same time, Ring of Honor, we were talking about this last night, they're going downhill. If you think about it, some of their biggest draws
gone
now are the biggest draws in AEW. So most of Ring of Honor's crowd is now over to AEW. So in all, I think you made the right decision, but at the same time, it is a shame to see what Ring of Honor is turning into at the present time.
Right. And my wife was happy at IWC, so I made a double good decision.
Yeah, she had a blast, and it was fun hanging out with her last night. So yeah, it was a good call for both of you.
Next match on the docket is Dylan Bostic against our number one favorite, Jimmy Nuts, and
another alumni.
And yep.
Another King Crusher alum.
This match is ended. Jimmy was all business. He's major into his jiu-jitsu stuff right now. As him and the English professor, their match is getting set up. By the way, their match is getting set up.
I will be. I want front row seats for that match. But yeah, you could see that tonight with Jimmy, or last night with Jimmy against Bostic. You could see him. He had Bostic on the ground. He was working holds, and it was nice to see. He was out muscling him for a while.
Yeah, and then as they're rolling around the ring, they legit fall out of the ring, and the thud. It's the other side of the arena where they fall out of. But you see the likes of Brad Kaler or Kayla Thompson, you see their faces. So that's always the way I judge what's going on that side. You're like, holy shit, something just happened.
Yeah, those people you just said in the crowd, they're fans that know their stuff. It's nice to have them on one side, us on the other. We get the places rocking at IWC. And, yeah, you could see it in their face. And because I missed it. I missed it. I was talking to either Jason or Bob off to my left, and I heard the thud, and I turned, and both are gone out of the ring. And I'm like, damn, where'd they go? I thought it was a clothesline spot at first, that Bostic clothesline Nuts over the ropes or something. But, yeah, they just fell out. That thud didn't sound good. And they called for the X. The ref put the X up, and they called the match a no contest, though. It was controversial a little bit.
But yeah, it was, and Jimmy will probably say the same thing. Bostic gets on the ring and said he's looking to end his, Jimmy Nuts' career, and he should have that night and everything. But 2 updates. All right, one, Jimmy did come out at halftime, intermission, whatever you want to call it.
It was nice to see him out there, that's for sure.
And Jimmy, when you're listening to this, as much as I love you, as much as I love the new shirt, as much as I love seeing your wife, all that, you're stupid. You should not have come out. Okay? You should not have come out. You should have instantly went to the emergency room, the doctors or whatever, because you look like you got hit by a train. And let's step back from Bostic. Bostic, if you're going to call out and say that you did this or whatever, come on, man. This is, now I'm shooting. This is real. Jimmy, you should not have been there at intermission.
You're right. I didn't go up and see him. You did, though. I saw him from across the room. like I said, it was a good sign to see that he was confident enough to get out there. But at the same time, you said, yeah, he didn't look like he was all there. So, we're hoping the best for him. And that keeps this rivalry open. They're two great in-ring guys. And, we don't want to see them get hurt, but at the same time, we want to see them beat the shit out of each other, too, if you know what I mean.
Legit. I reached out to Jimmy this morning, and he said his neck is sore, his headache is gone. Now he's got the biggest battle of his life right now, though, his family. Because this is second big injury in the last, couple years, is his knees and everything. He said this is going to be his hardest fight, is telling his family that he still wants to come back. He will be back, and love and support from him to all the IWC fans.
Yeah, and Can Crushers are right there behind him, and we just hope for the best because we love seeing him out there. It's something he loves to do, and you hate to see that get taken away from a guy like him.
Next match is Johnny Patch, your boy, against Mandime, and this is for the Super Indie Championship. This is my favorite feud. Well, Jimmy Nuts Bostic is my favorite, but this is number 2. I love both of these guys. You're Johnny Patch, and
you're Mandime.
And I love Mandime. I love him. This is great, and we both love the dime piece.
Oh, I told her call me, and I think Mandime got a little mad at me.
I think so.
During his entrance there. If you have the IWC network, go ahead and check that out. Send a link to Can Crushers. I want to see what I look like out there flirting with the dime piece.
$9.99 a month, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. But to see this feud begin where they were both rookies, and they both made a statement their first nights, and then they started feuding over last year's Pittsburgh Pro Wrestling Classic for the Battle Royal that Patch was able to go on and win and make a statement right away. Then you got Mandime. He was Rookie of the Year this past year in the IWC fan vote. Then Patch goes on, beats Alexander last month as your Super Indie champion. And now they're both feuding over that. So to see where this feud's gone in the year since they've started, year and a half or so, it's amazing. And for it to be one of the best feuds on the card, they're both making a big statement for themselves.
So this is where we're going to stop, and we're going to call out the IWC fans. We both said something about this, and we're both pissed about it. It happens again later on in the show, but we got to stop with the damn streamers. Everybody doesn't deserve streamers. I understand the toilet paper for Mandime. That's you guys' shtick with him. And even the streamers for Johnny Patch, okay. CJ doesn't need streamers. Bobby sure as shit doesn't need streamers. Dave, stop hitting Dave in the nuts with the streamers. Streamers too much.
Yeah, like you said, the toilet paper is funny. It's Mandime's shtick. They can keep that going. Just don't be throwing it at random people in the head. There was a lot of
those two little bastard kids. Those two little bastard kids throwing shit at everybody.
If their parents are listening, what the hell? But anyways, but yes, the streamers, when DJ Z was leaving, boom, that's a great moment. His last moment in IWC, make it memorable. He'll remember all that over him. Wardlow's last IWC show, boom, hit him with that. Awesome. But when, you and me come walking out through the entrance and they're throwing streamers. There better be a shit ton. There better be like, there'd be, all the Can Crusher streamers. It'd be nuts, but it's so many streamers. Not everybody needs them. Yeah. Every winter, there's 2 of them. Even if, people are throwing 2 of them out there.
Right.
It's insane. It's insane.
This was a great match. Some things that I have written down. A super kick to Charmin. A whole box of Charmin was there. And, which a Patch super kick.
Yeah, Johnny grabbed it from out under the ring, threw it up. Mandime caught it, and then he super kicked it to his face. Then that's where the little bastards kid picked it up. So Johnny, great improv with the move. Pick it back up and stick it back under the ring next time.
Right. A suicide.
But no, that was cool.
A suicide dive over the barrier by Pat.
Yeah, that was awesome. And then Mandime had some good devastating moves in the ring. and stuff. But yeah, they battled out into the crowd. It was good. But then just to keep this going, Patch was able to pull out the win. The dime piece got involved at one moment, and that looked like it cost Van Dime there at the end.
Yeah, I thought she was actually going to help him win, but no go.
And it's funny,
Sorry.
Johnny Patch, she was standing up on the apron looking out into the crowd, and Johnny Patch gave her a nice smack on that butt, and she went down.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, I know. I like Patch, but come on, man. I am jealous. But anyway, But yeah, it was cool. She got involved and everything in this. It leaves it open, though, because it was controversial there at the end, kind of, with her getting involved. That, if they go one more month with another match, I wouldn't complain. Hell no, they're both great performers, that's for sure.
I wouldn't either, but I don't know, because at the end of the match, there's a countdown, and a old-school egg timer comes on, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you see a white Power Ranger come out, and you're like, who the hell is this guy?
It ends up being Gory. I wouldn't quite say Power Ranger. Who was it? Mordecai in WWE in like the mid 2000s.
The mid 200s.
I almost said in the mid 2000s. I think the guy ended up being Kevin Thorne in the ECW reboot or something. The Vampire. But it was like kind of like a priestess look in a way.
Right.
Priest, something, he had a white robe and that, but, he had the chalk through it in Patch's face.
I did like that.
And,
I love old school chalk.
And he was walking out and he kept his hands folded in front of him and didn't talk, didn't acknowledge the crowd, and just left. And I said to him when he walked past us, I was like, why? I think this is a new evil look for Gory. And the question is the culmination involved with all that going on with Gory? So who knows where this is going to go? But I'm intrigued, that's for sure.
Pollock against Dupree, the video package to start this was amazing. Once again, this is where I'll give my props to 2-to-1 Video for putting this video package together. I love them all, but this one just got me. Like, Pollock's back is just, goddamn, that was good.
And yeah, it was real good, very good produced. Pollock was there, talking about the past, and then they'd throw up a clip of the past, just like when Team Storm took over. Pollock was the heavyweight champion, and Dupree and Argos were the tag champs, and they came out in White Oak in their denim suits. That was a great moment. It had the celebration. Then it shows them winning and everything. Then Argos turns on Pollock, and then Argos wins the title. Era of Argos starts, and then throw Dupree in there. It was, greatly produced, great story, and Pollock being back from injury, his passion's there, and that's another thing that got me. You could see his passion.
Dupree was slapping Pollock last night like a 7-year-old girl slapping her baby dolls, and the little whine,
But
so
before
good.
that, he showed his passion there too. But yeah, before that, last night was the best I've seen Dupree in the ring, for sure. He had a mean streak going, and he hit Pollock with some big moves that normally he would put people away with, and Pollock kept kicking out. And yeah, I'd be frustrated too, but he just couldn't do it. Pollock got the last laugh and got the W in a big grudge match.
Yeah, it was a great match. And then Argos comes out as Pollock and Dupree looked like they were going to reconcile a little bit. And then Argos comes out and just jacks Jack's back. His back was disgusting.
Oh, yeah, we saw, a little bit of blood was dripping there on his back. And, man, those welts, they turned purple quick from that kendo stick. But, yeah, like you said, it looked like Pollock and Dupree were going to make amends. And they kind of had a hand extended, but then all of a sudden, Argos came in and started wailing that stick around. And you could see in Dupree's face that for a second he had a heart, it looked
He
like.
did,
So,
yeah.
So, that's intriguing to see where that goes. So, we'll see.
Next match of the night, Brian Cage against Andrew Palace and Soup. I had nothing to write about this match that Brian Cage won. I had nothing to say about this.
Big name, big name. He was a former Impact World Champion. Big guy. He's jacked.
Yeah.
He's got a good look. He looked like a Batista back years ago, because when he was big. But man, he might even be bigger than what Batista was. But yeah, great look, former champion, good name, Palace, great worker. But yeah, there was no stakes in it,
No eggs. Nothing.
Yeah, no eggs either. And great match, hard-hitting match. They both laid it in. They both showed signs of respect at the end, but that's all you can really say,
Yeah. Then you have Vegas against the Lebanon Dawn.
This was coming back from intermission.
I love the Lebanon Dawn. I love them.
Lebanon Dawn gets the win via count-out again. Last month he paid off Mambo, and this month he did pay off Vegas. And going into the match, people were like, "Oh, Vegas, he's one of the founding fathers. He's an IWC, legend." And would he fall for that? And he did. Lebanon Dawn pulls out, what is it, $1,000, 10 $100 bills or something. And Vegas looks at it, hesitates, and he says, "All right, I'm going to take the money." And he starts getting out of the ring, but I don't know if everybody heard this. Right before he leaves, he said, "But you better run." And he walks out, and the ref said a 4 count. Gets to 10, Lebanon Dawn gets the win. All of a sudden, a masked attacker comes out and beats the hell out of the Lebanon Dawn.
You don't think it was Vegas? Vegas's music was playing, though.
That is true there at the end. So was it Vegas? But he had a mask on, so I couldn't tell.
Next matchup was probably one of the funnest matches of the night. Fun-wise. Team Katie, which is Katie and Slade and Nydstrom, against our girl, Team Raylin.
Can Crusher alumni.
Calvin Couture, sexiest man alive.
Looking great, as always.
And then somebody that we have heritage with, Mambo Italiano.
From Grandma's side of the family, yeah. Yeah, great match, fun match. The crowd was hot for this as well.
We were both upset, though, a little bit. We were both upset because we want one thing every month, and we didn't get to hear, "Hey, Mambo Italiano."
Yes, we did mention that. Raylan's team came out with her and her music. Katie's team came out with her and her music. So the guys, you didn't get to hear their entrances, and man, when Mambo comes out, I love it. That was great. But no, great match, fun match. My love for Calvin, your love for Raylan. We were disappointed in the outcome, but with the win, Team Katie allows Katie to get a women's title match. What is it, next month?
I would think it's not on. Not on the card or anything, but I would imagine.
Yeah, it's not confirmed, but I think that's where it's going. So they're two IWC's best women, so it'll be a good match, and they have decent chemistry together. You can see there's a little bit of hate there. I don't know if it's real, but they make it look good. That's for sure.
It's real. It's real.
I feel like Raylan hates everybody
except me.
But I don't know how, but who knows?
Right.
What about the professor? She hate him?
I hate him.
True.
Raylan.
But Calvin looked great.
Raylan, I love you, Raylan, but there's one thing that you can't do, sweetheart. I love you, and you're going to give me hell. You will send me a text, or you'll call me or something.
It's a good song.
You can't sing your opponent's entrance song. You can't sing it. It is a great song. My wife was singing it like Whitney Houston in my ear.
They had a duet. Raylan and Kelly had a duet going. It was impressive.
It was unbelievable. But yeah, it's a great song. But I just don't think you should be singing it prior to kicking Katie's ass. Nonetheless, we'll leave it at that.
It shows how much fun she has in the ring, and like you said, she's gotten so good for she's been around the world wrestling, and she's having fun out there, and it's fun to see that. That's for sure.
Good point. I'll pull that back. All right, next match. After 392 days, we get the return of Sean Phoenix taking on Atticus Cogar.
And yeah, that goes all the way back to Phoenix got hurt jumped off the scaffolding. They were fighting the culmination, I believe,
Right.
in that match. And, he was out of action for over a year, made his return last month. And the crowd was pumped for this one. It's good to see him back after what happened.
Shawn picks up the win in a quick match, and real quick after he picks up the win, Coger's partner comes out. Not Remy, though. You were looking for Remy. Remy nowhere to be found. Upset about that.
Yeah, I was upset. No Remy there because at the beginning he was the leader of the culmination. And I mentioned this last month when they threw Gory through the table. I looked at Coger because he was acting like the leader, and I looked at him and I was like, I thought Remy was in charge. And
We're going to have to
Coger's
reach out to Remy. I bet we can get
Yeah.
Remy on this show and ask him that.
I'd like to hear some answers about that because now Coger's acting like he's in the lead, and we said it last night. Remember Otis? He was
Right.
originally there. He got burnt in the face during a match. We haven't seen him since, and now this, what's his name? Bourne?
Jason Bourne? I don't know what the
Jason
hell is.
something. He's now in culmination, and him and Coger are tight. So is Remy slowly falling out after starting all this?
Right? Coger grabs the mic and he says next month they're going to have a stretcher match. So
Yeah, when Bourne came out and they laid him out laid Phoenix out after the match, making a statement, even though Phoenix got the win, that hey, this ain't over. They have a bone to pick with Phoenix, and next month they're gonna have to beat the living hell out of each other and be able to stretcher that person out into the back. So you got to lay them out for good. So it's gonna be a hard hitting match, and these guys know how to do it.
the next match, it gets down and dirty, locked and loaded. It's not the main event, but it's one hell of a match.
Amazing match. What a great building that was. But no, great match. It was a tag team title match. You got the IWC Tag Team Champions, the main event, Duke and Gannon Jones Jr. against the North.
I love
a guy
these
that's
guys.
been around for a while, Josh Alexander. He's been here in IWC for half a year. And his tag team partner up in Impact, Ethan Page, who is a Super Indie Tournament alumni. And they are the Impact Tag Team Champions, and both belts were on the line. Great match, hard-hitting teams, but the bigger, well, I don't know.
The bigger team won. The bigger team
won. Yeah, the bigger team won, and the North is now double champions, IWC Tag Team Champs, and still Impact Champs.
I think that Ethan Page had the shooting indie guy actually vlogging part of this match for him. Did you see that?
Yes, I did. Jason made a mention that the guy was double camera. And, I looked, and, one was a little video recorder, and one was his normal photo camera. And, we saw the things on our seats when we walked in. Ethan Page has a vlog. He drops it on Wednesdays, I think, on YouTube or something.
Right after Can Crusher Spotlight. Right after Can Crusher.
So it would be cool to get him on a spotlight maybe.
Maybe.
And, he could vlog some of the who knows? He could get, video of the podcast or something, or him being on the podcast. That'd be cool. That'd be real cool. You did go see them after the show, I saw, and got to take a picture with both sets of tag titles.
I did. It was great. They were busting my chops for a while because
I don't. You guys all laughing and chuckling over there. I saw that.
I don't know who takes a better, air quotes, picture of me, my wife or the English professor, because both of them, they don't know how to zoom. They get more of my feet. I would rather have your 3-year-old niece come and take the picture because Kelly took that picture 6 times, and they're like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, hey, dude, you better be okay because that's your wife. I'm like, yeah, and it's my anniversary weekend. And they're like, holy shit, shut up. We'll just stand here and talk and hold on. She can take as many pictures as she wants.
That sounds like that was fun. Like I said, saw you guys laughing. But yeah, it'd be cool to get them on. Who knows? But great win for them. And but then at the end of the match, Regulators come out. They were saying they deserve the tag team match this month because they were just the tag team champs. They come out and they're laying out the main event. But then the North makes the save, drives the Regulators away, and there was a show of respect between the two champs.
And Cowboy Duke shows up then.
Yeah, Cowboy Duke, that was cool. Got the crowd pumping again. But yeah, it was nice to see, 2 good teams, 1 great match, and then they came as one there at the end.
Then you have the main event. Rhino is cashing in his briefcase contract that he got last month in the ladder match against Argos. And I thought this match was going to be over within the first 30 seconds as the gore was hit and Rhino was out.
Yeah, Argos pulled a old Canadian trick. I don't know if everybody remembers, late 90s or so, Bret Hart gets over to WCW and is feuding with Goldberg. Goldberg hits a spear, and Goldberg's out cold. Bret Hart takes his hockey jersey off, has to steel plate there. Argos did that last night, had his vest on, that he was there. It was gold, bedazzled, looked great. Underneath, boom, he had, steel cookie sheet there over his stomach and laid out Rhino. Gets for the pin, but Rhino was able to kick out, and we were able to have one hell of a crazy match. That's for sure.
Yeah, a pumpkin came in play. Let's just run down a crowbar, a stapler, a table, trash cans, pizza pans, a chair, a toilet seat, people.
No parking anytime sign.
Yeah.
My chair.
Your effing chair, not mine, yours. Tom got it earlier from Bulk Nasty. You got it this time. No. Two things.
It went all the way around the whole ring, in the crowd, behind the barrier. So buddy of mine, Lou, was across the way. He was getting good pictures, and that the whole other side of the arena got action. It was nuts. It was nuts.
Two big things that I want to bring up is I don't know who this kid is, but he's an IWC staff, and he leaped over the barrier in one swoop. Best jump of the night.
It was impressive. He's one of the staff guys, security guys. Very impressive. He's got to be in the academy. Can't wait to see him.
It was a standing jump. It wasn't a running jump.
Yeah, he didn't run. Yeah, he was there. And Rhino and Argos were in the crowd behind the barrier, and he was inside the arena at ringside, and he realized that they were going over there, and as staff and security, he knew he had to go over there. And instead of taking the long way around, because those two were beating the hell out of each other, he standing jump, boom, over it. Very impressive. I want to see him in the ring.
Real quick. Dupree comes out and does a nut shot, and it helps Argos win after Argos hits Rhino in the head with the belt. All for naught. Argos keeps the title, which I'm all right with, because it builds up to what happens next month.
Yes. Argos gets a win. Dupree comes out, showing he still has Argos's back. But yeah, after the match, Pollock comes out, and him and Argos are getting into it. They needed to be broken up by security. Plummer comes out, says, all right, you guys want to do this? This is a year in the making. Argos defends his title next month at the second annual Pittsburgh Pro Wrestling Classic against Jack Pollock, and this is going to be a brawl. That's for sure.
And we want it in the cage.
And yeah, we started. I want to see it. It's like back in the day, Hell in a Cell. You determined the feud there. This is a big feud. And last year's Pro Wrestling Classic, when it was Pollock versus Wardlow, ended in a surprise cage match. Bring it back. Bring it back round 2 here next month. I want to see it.
Plumber, make it happen.
Let's start a poll on the Facebook page or something. Let's do it. Let's hear what the other fans think. Go on Can Crushers, go on IWCs. I want to see a cage match between these two, because this is a big match for the biggest prize. I love RC. I don't want him involved. I don't want Rhino involved. I don't want nobody involved. I want it Pollock, Argos, one-on-one for the belt.
You don't want anyone involved. You had a double negative there. No,
English professor's going to get me.
All right. So all in all, a great show. Again, the only hiccup I had is the mic sucked, but it's a great show. A great show that you can rewatch on IWC Network for $9.99 a month. And Plummer announces that you can now buy a season pass. Go on IWCWrestling.com and you'll be able to buy a season pass. Pick out your seats for the
Yes.
whole year.
Yeah. Get your own seat so you go there every month, know where it is. It's a deal. You're going to be saving money over time. Excuse me. It's going to be great. So you and me are down. We'll find out about the English professor. IWC fans, if you're there every month, do the pass. You'll save money, and nothing wrong with that.
All right, so that's IWC. Let's a couple minutes on what you thought about on AEW this week, and I'm going to start off by saying I love the Jericho Cody thing. I hated the Rick and Morty with the best friends, and I hated Mortal Kombat. I don't need crossovers. I like wrestling in my video games. I don't like video games in my wrestling.
Good point. That is a good point. Not that you're old, but as me being younger, I liked the Rick and Morty thing, but at the same time, I knew it was dumb also because, not everybody, is into that just like you. Cody and Jericho stuff was great. I loved Jericho's coat. Did you see his coat?
Amazing.
It was a great coat. They beat the hell. Jake Hager comes back, beats the hell out of Dustin Rhodes.
That was unbelievable. That dent on the limo from his head.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. That was crazy. That feel of a fight reminded me of Kevin Nash launching Rey Mysterio into the trailer. And, I like stuff like that. So that's a good story there. That's going to be a big world title match. Then you had SCU over the Lucha Bros to crown the first ever tag champions. Great match. I was shocked. Lucha Bros have looked good, but at the same time, SCU's been together for years as well. So, yeah, it was a great match, and, we'll see where that division goes.
How about the Rock and Roll Express is getting throttled by Santana and, LAX. We're going to still call them LAX. They probably can't use that name, but wrestlers know. LAX
yeah,
just
the fans
throttled.
know that. Oh, yeah, they beat the hell out of them. But those guys still look good. How old are they? They still look good and
In
look
their
like
60s.
They could even go. Yeah, I've heard that they can still go, and I haven't seen anything, but they look good for how old they are, yeah.
The women's match for me this week was a little long, being two women that we don't know.
Yeah, they were two women that they weren't pushing a lot at the start, but then, still a good match to watch. But at the same time, I'm intrigued with where this thing with Brandy's going. We saw her last week beat up the girl that Britt beat in Pittsburgh. We see her this week with the makeup dripping down her face and all. She's looking like she's going somewhere dark. So I wonder where that's going. Her and Awesome Kong. They showed Awesome Kong.
Yeah, she's bringing Kong back.
Oh, I haven't mentioned, but when they were in Pittsburgh last Wednesday, nice to see Wardlow. Yeah, we were talking IWC. Can't wait till he comes. They say coming soon, so. Hopefully it's soon. I want to see Wardlow kick some ass.
Guys, and that's again, we'll give another plug to IWC. If you're listening to this and you don't know who the hell Wardlow is, and you're in California because you've never seen Wardlow, get on there and check out IWC Wrestling for $9.99 a month. Buy it for 1 month. Watch every Wardlow match that you can. This guy is a big man that can fly as good as a Lucha brother.
Yeah, he hits a good swanton. He's a big dude, powerful dude. He's going to be one of the biggest dudes in AEW. He said at the beginning, January 2019, that 2019 is Wardlow's year. And if you watch anything from January 2019 to what last month was September of 19, those 8 months, you'll be impressed. Go back to 18. He's got some good stuff when he was younger. But, yeah, 2019 was his year. Takes him to AEW, and hopefully he keeps building on that.
All right, Soup, thanks for running down some IWC with me and going over some AEW. Take a couple seconds and get your shtick in.
Oh, yeah. Coming on the end of the year, so get ready. W-2s will be coming, as a tax man. As Soup, I'm here, love IWC. Take my chair some more. Hopefully I'll get a Soup's chair chant going is my goal now for future shows. And as Nathan, I'm your cousin. Love you, Mark. Glad to be on. See you next month.
All right, brother. Take care.
Wrestling
a love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand, the wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke the Dumpster Droese, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
I told you this was going to be a mixed show, as it's all over the place, and now coming into the new and improved but not updated studio yet. Chad the Guru. Chad, it's been a little bit since you've been on the show. How the hell are you doing?
Doing good. Getting ready to making plans for WrestleCade trip in a couple of weeks. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's been the first hour of you sitting here, of us just figuring out what we're going to do and how we're going to game plan and who we're going to attack right from there.
I'm telling you, they added where we first bought 25 tickets for autographs and pictures and that. They upped it to 29. They've added 5-6 people to include guys that have never done it or haven't done something like this in 10 plus years. The Iron Sheik, Sergeant Slaughter, Muta, the top of the line, who is going to be wrestling at WrestleCade. They've announced a couple of matches. This is really shaping up, and they still have a lot
to announce
yet.
They really do. And I'm actually excited for the Queens of Combat. You know, some women have been announced to be at WrestleCade during their Super Show Fan Fest and everything, but not enough to put on a card. So I wonder if we're going to see some other, maybe some OVW people that I know, maybe some IWC, maybe, you know, all these people are kind of intermingled in this, and I'm like, holy shit, maybe some lesser known AEW people as well, since Dustin is going to be there.
Yeah, it would make sense with everybody being in. They're going to have some surprises. I mean, it's pro wrestling card.
Right.
It doesn't matter where you go, what you do. Something from unannounced people showing up to, you know, whatever matches. The women's card is slated for 2.5 hours. They've announced 2 matches for it.
Right.
They're not going to be putting people on there that are going to be injuring
not gonna be
each other. Yeah, it's not as much as wrestling. But anyway, with that,
right outside the backyard,
it's shaping up to be a really good card, and the price $250 just in your signatures alone is a $700 value.
Yeah,
we get, you know, a closed door rated R thing with Dustin Rhodes.
That's exciting.
That, you know. And look what he's doing, and he's going to be there. Who's he bring? Is he going to bring somebody with him?
Right. Because not many details are on that. It's just closed door, meet and greet,
stories from the road.
Yeah, stories from the roads.
The one thing that I'm looking forward to the most, and kind of surprised Mark with this, told him I was going to do it, is the Arn Show, who he started his podcast 4 weeks ago.
Copying us.
Of course. I mean, he sees this and he's like, I got to do this.
Right.
He is doing his show is going to be a closed, you know, another closed door thing. And the questions and the whole show is going to be broadcast the next week, is going to be us people sitting there and asking them questions, which is
unheard of.
Yeah.
If he's really going to hit the record button and let jackasses like us ask him questions and it's going to be on the show, that should be the most listened to show that he ever has, or a podcast, because it's the real shit.
and just sitting in on that. Then of course, VIP thing, front seats, autograph, special autograph photo opportunity with him. It's shaping up to be a great
event. 4 days. We're excited. Again, I made up this week as took my wife to here or there because it's our anniversary. But at the end of the month, it's her birthday. So I kind of made up this weekend by doing some extra stuff compared to what I'm not going to be doing on her birthday. And she's okay with it. So, all right, let's talk about a little bit of WWE news in general, because in our move to the studio and the move to the new house and all of this, when you call Dish TV or Dish Network, they guarantee they'll help you move, no problem, but it's on their terms. I am now not going to have TV for 10 days. Because they said, yeah, we'll move it, no problem, free of charge, just that and the other thing, but on our terms. So now I don't have TV until November 10th, which is this podcast and next week's podcast. So I'm going to have random people in and out to talk about stuff. Don't worry, I have ways to watch it. But I'm just saying it kind of sucks that I'm now handcuffed to when I have to watch it, right?
Yeah, it's like they have special appointments like, oh, okay, if you're a new customer, we'll get you in a day and a half. But if you're an existing customer and we're not going to be making any money off you, well, we don't have those type of appointments available for a week and a half.
Right. So it kind of sucks. So I'm handcuffed when I can watch shit, and it's not roll through it whenever I want to. So this is why we're going to have a mixed bag. Let's start with Raw a little bit. I mean, it's just brief stuff. Raw has not been good at all since the brand split, and that's all I really have to say.
Yeah, they're not. It's the same shit, different week. It's
different
like
city,
I think of a quote by one of the funniest comedians, Ron White from Redneck Comedy Tour.
He was
like, you can dress a pile of shit up in $1 million suit, but it's still a pile of shit. That is what Raw and SmackDown are. Bits and pieces. I don't want to see Lashley and Lana and Rusev. It's like, who
cares?
Who cares about this stuff? I mean, the one picture iconic, if you can get on and find it, is
iconic. Did you guys catch that?
Rusev laying on the ground while the other two are making out over him, and there's a kid, probably 12, 13 years old, standing in the background, first row ringside, and he has a look on his face like, WTF.
Right.
And it's just like, I came to this crap? It's like, but, and this is my opinion, and I think it's really backed up. The two networks were in a bidding war to get SmackDown.
Right.
Fox obviously had a lot more to offer than USA. That's where it's kind of funny to me, because USA knew what the gist of it was. Fox, to me, had no clue. They say, okay, we want every nationality represented, was one of the things.
Right.
That's why certain people are on SmackDown. Okay. SmackDown hasn't had a good show since this. I've not been impressed by
I haven't
anything.
I haven't either.
Ooh, they have nice, pretty lights and effects, and it looks really cool, but I don't go to wrestling to see pyro and
you don't
stuff like. I mean, no, I'm not when I'm not going to get any kind of match, and that's what it is. But McMahon is backed into a corner because he's under contract with Fox
for a long time now.
For a long time, but if Fox decides to terminate the contract,
I'm just going to bring it up. Fox can't, USA, wrestling on USA is their number one thing. Let's not bullshit around that. There's NCIS or TGIF Fridays or whatever garbage they show, the Miz and the Misses, wrestling's their number one thing. They're all in, double down, completely.
And they have Raw, which is
they're still number one
show. Yeah, it's not going to matter. SmackDown will never be
Right.
It can outdraw Raw. It can do anything, but SmackDown will never outdraw
You think of
Raw.
WWE, the first thing you think of is Raw. Monday Night Raw.
Raw.
Boom. Fox can cancel them at any time.
In my opinion, and I don't think there's anybody that could talk me out of it. This is kind of like a NFL team tanking it to get a good draft pick. McMahon's backed into a corner.
Yep.
With contract. Only way out is if Fox cancels. Well, okay, we're going to give you
a year.
We're going to give you a shit show.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, no, this hasn't turned out to be what we wanted.
How long did they
We're
give them?
terminating the contract.
A year? I mean, because it was a 6-year deal. I think it was 6 years, right?
Yeah. So if they give them a year, okay,
because
they terminate it at the end of it, then McMahon can go elsewhere.
Right.
That's why
back to USA.
Yeah, that's why USA Network
doesn't care.
Didn't care because they're like, okay, whatever the figure is. Let's say, we give them $10 million. We know what we're going to get from them.
Right.
Well, Fox gave them $100 million,
and you don't know what you're going to get.
They don't know what the hell they're going to get.
And you're spending money now during. I thought it was going to be cool during the World Series. You see, hey, wrestling, Friday night. No, I don't like that. I don't like it during the promos during the World Series, during football, during Family Guy.
Because they're people that don't know and don't care about. And I'm sorry, I don't give a rat's fat, hairy butt.
You can say it.
Ass.
We've been getting worse since.
What's his name? Joe Buck. I don't care what he'd endorse. He could endorse Selena
oh my
Del
God.
Rena, and I still wouldn't care. That's how much I hate him.
Right, him and Aikman talking about wrestling is.
And Aikman with his issues. I gotta love him, but you can see the effects of his speech and everything. But anyway, WWE not.
It hasn't been good. It hasn't been good. That's Raw. NXT was good. I did get to see bits and pieces of that, but let's just swing right over to Friday Night SmackDown, because then we'll reverse to Crown Jewel. Friday Night SmackDown was NXT all over again, because this is what I just found out. People couldn't make the airplane trip, and there's our air quotes from both of us. I got Chad doing it now too, so F all of you guys. But there was more to this story. You guys all know what we're talking about. There's more to this story, that there was airplane issues. And Chad brought it to my attention today, and I want him to, bring it back around.
Yeah, so the whole issue with, the quick turnaround from Crown Jewel and then getting the guys back to Buffalo for SmackDown. Hey, from somebody who was in the military, somebody that was in Saudi and flew and everything like that. The ship over there is tight. It's just not a screw around type deal and everything like that. Very tight ship, very well run, everything like that. And the guys not showing or not getting back in time because of plane difficulties, mechanical issues, just kind of screamed
red flag.
And then it comes out, the Spanish announcer, Hugo Siganovich, or sorry for the mispronunciation.
Yeah, shit. I can't think of it right now either. I know what you mean.
But he has come out and said, totally off of WWE, his own thing, that the issue, there was no mechanical issues with the plane. The Saudi prince, whoever that is running this stuff and in on this, they owe the McMahons over $300 million.
So that's their last 3 shows there, because there's been 3 shows.
Yeah, I don't know how the contract was set up and payment, but they owe them over $300 million. And Vince asked for it and asked about it. Well, again, the Saudis and especially the royalty, they don't like when you question them, even if it's a legitimate question to
human being with a functioning brain, they took offense to him asking, had the wrestlers, they sat on the plane for 6 hours on the tarmac, and then ordered them off of the plane. It basically, the reason that SmackDown went down the way it did is because it's already beginning to be a pissing match
with over there.
between. And I'm going to say this, and I don't know if Mark agrees with me. I don't know if anybody will. This is exactly what Vince deserves for going over there.
Yes.
In the first place, after the way that country, they assassinated a foreign diplomat at the headquarters, actually pulled the guy out and cut him into pieces. And Vince still goes over there and says, we can't get involved in their political things. But, boy, you'll sure take the money. This is exactly, and, thank God none of the superstars were harmed. Nobody, anything, there wasn't an international incident and stuff like that. But this is exactly what Vince and the rest of that deserve.
And this is a long-term deal as well. I mean, how does he get out of this? How this has to be red flag, number 100. Sami Zayn doesn't go. The women weren't allowed going the first 2 times. Daniel Bryan's not going to go, so KO's not going to go. There's so many others that just don't want to go. Now you've just pissed off because the number came out at one point. 175 plus were stuck over there. How many of those 175 are going to want to go next time? Because it's November, so they'll wrap it back around and they'll do it in May again. Because it seems like they're doing May, November-ish. Instead of doing a woman's freaking evolution again, we go back over Saudi Arabia. Not we, because we're not going over ever. I don't care how much the Prince offers Can Crushers to go. We're not going. How many of those 175, Chad, are going to go next time?
Yeah, and who wants to go? I mean, that, to me, great, awesome point. I agree. But Vince is not in control of this.
No.
What are you gonna do, Vince, if they don't pay you the money as they're supposed to pay? You gonna take them to court?
Right? Where?
What are the Saudis gonna do if you don't bring the people over there? Take you to court? No. See, the way that country will operate is there will be more shit happen to
the people
Americans,
that do go
to
over.
the and everything like that. And this is worse than the NBA crap from weeks ago, where the one owner made a comment about the Chinese and Chinese government, and they get pissed off, and the players were supposedly afraid for their lives and stuff being trapped in a foreign country. This makes that look like child's play, because the wrestler, what are they going to do? You are flying in and out of not an international airport, the Saudi actual airport.
Right.
I mean, when I was in the military, we had to fly across Saudi. Our plane had to turn around because they didn't have the proper clearance, and the Saudis said, "Turn around, or we're going to shoot you down." And
so you
this
turned around.
This was a military plane, unarmed plane. They were going to shoot down because we didn't have their John Hancock on a piece of paper. Right. Now you're going to piss somebody off by not, bringing money into the economy, and Sheik so-and-so is not going to be able to take him and his 15 wives and 500 children out to the wrestling
Popeyes or whatever. Yeah.
This is gearing up to be
a bad situation.
A very bad situation. And I'm going to say it again. I don't hate Vince. I hate what he's done to wrestling. And screw you, Vince. You're getting exactly what you deserve by going over there in the first place. You don't support your own superstars.
Thank you.
And
That's
Sami
what
Zayn,
I wanted to say right there.
And Sami Zayn and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are like two peas in a pod.
Yep.
You say you get backed into a corner when wrestlers say they don't feel comfortable going over there because you can't force them to go over there.
Right.
So
They're
now,
independent contractors.
yeah. So now you're losing Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens,
Daniel Bryan.
I
don't know how many of the women really want to go over.
The women wrestlers who
Lacey and Nat went over to be the first ones, which we can touch on that real quick too. Congratulations! That's a big milestone.
It's an awesome thing. But I go back and I'm not meaning to be negative on this, but at what cost? Now,
right?
The match itself was your typical match that you're going to see,
right?
One thing I noticed is like their some of their move sets and things like that, like, not to be rude, but getting chopped across the breasts or kicked in the ass or something like that didn't happen on this thing. This was a very clean cut in a church.
Church fighting.
Church. Nice. What do you call those? Like in a church gymnasium type match or something like that. It was very clean. They were covered from head to toe, which figured because of the Saudi way of looking at women and degrading them and everything else. They were covered from head to toe. T-shirts, their arms were covered all the way up to their wrist. Very little to no makeup, which is fine. But Lacey Evans looked like she just got in from
a bender,
an all night drink fest, and Natalya was Natalya. Her look just doesn't change.
No,
and it was okay. Again, congratulations to him. It's a hell of a thing, but there's just so much behind the curtain
yep,
that's going on with this situation.
All right, real quick on Crown Jewel, just 3 matches I want to cover because of it wasn't. I did brief over some of this. It wasn't good. And I mean real quick because there's one more point I want to talk to you about.
It was a glorified Raw card is what it was. And even at that, not even that good.
Lesnar, Kane,
Velasquez, yeah.
Horse shit.
2 minutes. They look like two Gumbies in the ring smacking each other, and Lesnar puts them in an arm lock and taps them out.
And
yay!
And Velasquez made millions, but he signed for a little bit longer because now you're going to get him and Ray against Lesnar and somebody.
Yeah.
In another month or so. Braun Strowman and Fury, Fist of Fury, or whatever the hell his name is. I hate when they do
Gypsy King.
I hate when they do this. I didn't like the Bam Bam Bigelow Lawrence Taylor thing way back. I sure as shit am not going to like Fist of Fury against Braun Strowman.
Yeah. Punches Strowman in the neck after a horrible, again, this looked like two bigger Gumbies in the ring wrestling. Punches him in the throat. Strowman half-ass rolls out of the ring and gets counted out. Yippee. And, I said this to Mark off camera here about 2 weeks ago, off-air camera, about, it irritated me that Vince was giving these matches to the Saudi crowd, bringing these guys in and doing it and stuff like that. You know what? I'm damn glad that he didn't put this on stateside pay-per-view. Because if I paid, $400, $500 for, first row balcony seats or something like that, and this shit happened, yeah, I'd be storming the ring. It's at that point that I'm glad he didn't.
Right.
Keep that shit over there.
But don't go over there anymore. And then finally, we have a new Universal Champion as The Fiend defeats Seth Rollins. And you told me a little bit about this because I didn't see this match, but I did see clips, and they had that mother trucking red light again. Does he need to wrestle with that fucking red light on all the time?
It's supposedly
is he a stripper?
Yeah. Might as well put a pole in the middle of the ring and...
Stop. Stop already. All right. That's enough WWE. That's enough WWE.
And something behind that I forgot to mention to Mark, and he's probably going to reach across and slap me for this. Rumor behind Seth Rollins losing the title, 2 things. A, he was very vocal in being against them going over there in the first place, you know, especially with the Sami Zayn issue and the women's issue. 2, as you've seen a development come up, Brock Lesnar's quitting SmackDown and going to Raw. Okay. I love Seth Rollins, but for the 5th time, Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar in a title unification match, I don't want to see.
Right.
Because if Seth wins, I'm happy. If Brock wins, I want to throw a brick through my fucking TV.
Right.
Because I hate Brock Lesnar.
But it also said that The Fiend is going to go back to SmackDown now as well. Both titles are going to switch. But why? Like, is the Universal... This is going to be kind of stupid, but not. Do you want to be the Universal Champion? Which I know it encompasses the universe, like the Milky Way and it's the galaxy. Or do you want to be the WWE Championship, which at least there's some prestige there?
It's like the Universal title was made up, so they had a world title, air quotes,
again, yeah.
on each brand, which is this goes again and again. We've had this discussion.
Cockamamie bullshit.
Everybody has to have a title. Titles don't mean anything anymore.
No.
You know, Jim Cornette said it
Nice
weeks
segue
ago.
because that's coming up.
Jim Cornette said it months ago, that titles meant something at one point.
The territory
now,
era.
The territory, the NWA, you know, WWE 15 years ago, they meant something. Now they're a prop.
They're a participation trophy.
Yeah, they're costume jewelry.
Yeah.
You know, God love the women and everything like that, but the women's tag team title was something that never should have been done.
No, I disagree.
At this point.
Now, at the beginning of it, when Sasha and Bayley were fighting for it, and it gets more recognition to the women who I will continue to say carry why I watch WWE. If it's not because of Sasha and Becky, and I don't want Charlotte to have any more titles the rest of her freaking life, or Bayley being heel, or even the other one like Mella, they're entertaining to me, and they're better to look at than Braun Strowman rolling around with Fists of Fury.
And when I say the women's title being a mistake, it should have been developed, but here is my biggest issue with it. Vince McMahon has always thought of tag team in any way, shape, or form as being a joke. If his son-in-law wasn't involved in it with Shawn Michaels and they weren't shaking their peckers and, you know, humping corpses in a casket and stuff like that, he doesn't want to have anything to do with it. You know, that's why you see guys like I say the Good Brothers, the OC, getting crapped on, and they're one of the best tag teams in
they are the
wrestling.
best tag team in the world, the greatest tag team because they won the turmoil.
The Viking Raiders come in as the Viking Experience.
Because they can't be the War Raiders.
Who's the Revival,
the best tag team out there right now.
Period. Yeah, across almost I would say almost.
If you say the Young Bucks, you're gone.
Jeez. Make them go back to high school. Vince craps on tag teams. And, you know, Vince is a pervert. Everybody knows that. Everybody sees that. He's always been that. And that part of it lost its luster. So now, who has the Kabuki Warriors?
Right.
Okay, 2 decent wrestlers that are being thrust into the spotlight, and
I like the heel turn they're on right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing, needs to be done, but again, who?
Right.
You know, you can't have a tag team division and expect people to be interested in it when there's 2 legitimate tag teams. You can throw anybody together that you want to throw together and make a tag team and have a champion. You know, Edge and Hogan, Michaels and Hogan. You know, whoever.
Rock and Sock Connection.
I mean, you can do that, but that's an anomaly. That's
it became an anomaly. The day that the Rock and Sock Connection was put together, you're like, what the fuck is going to go on? And there it was. It was coming out. What's going to go on with this? That night, you're like, really? Mankind and freaking Rock together? What the hell?
But see, that was mildly entertaining, but again, it goes back to the lack of respect for the championships and stuff like that. Nowadays, it's Vince decides who's champion. It doesn't mean a thing.
No,
it doesn't mean a thing. When it was voted on by people, even when Vince Sr. had it and he made decisions, he had a plan.
Breaking shit.
Yeah, now I'm breaking shit. He had a plan and he thought things out. And guys there was always transitional champions.
Right.
Bruno Sammartino loses the title to Ivan Koloff. Ivan Koloff has it for 3 months. Ivan loses it to Pedro Morales. There was always an aspect of not racial, ethnic champions and running it and thinking things out. Now it's who tickles Vince's.
Yes.
Know what gets a shot.
Yeah.
And I'll go right, and I'll say go right to NXT. The NXT champions, by far, I think, are the best that WWE has, period. From the women's champion to
Adam Cole
to Roderick Strong to the tag team. There is nobody better. But that's because Vince doesn't have
his finger on it.
Stained hands in there and making the decisions. The first time that Vince gets in there and does this and screws with NXT,
done.
NXT just became the third bitch show of WWE.
NXT right now is the number one brand, followed by SmackDown and then Raw, as WWE goes.
And I love AJ Styles. I've been a huge fan of his for the longest time. Same thing with Seth Rollins. But now it's like I tape it or I turn the sound down and I do something else and just glance up. And those guys, honestly, maybe 4, 5, 6 guys are the only reason that I watch these shows. There's nothing that interests me in these shows.
Storyline-wise?
No storyline-wise.
No, not at all.
No character-wise. I think, and I bring this up from years ago when Magnum TA had his car accident.
Holy crap! Boy, I don't know where you're going all of a sudden.
Sorry. I got a little upset because I thought about how upset my mom was all of a sudden when this happened. But when Magnum had his car accident, and Dusty was teaming with him, and here comes Dusty down to the ring for a match against the Andersons. And who is behind Dusty is his partner, Nikita Koloff. That was a holy shit moment.
Yeah.
It was like it got you interested. It was like, what in the hell? It got you interested. Now, Natalya brings out a partner, and it's Lacey Evans, who she'd been beating the hell out of, and there's no explanation. Fine, great, no explanation. But
if they win the titles that night, it sucks.
Yeah, and sorry for getting upset there.
No, all right, but that's great. That's great because this is a great segue into what Chad is going to be doing here on out. There's a bunch of co-hosts. There's a bunch of hosts. There's a bunch of randomness. You're just going to get all of us. But Chad is now going to have, starting next week, his own segment, so to speak. And you brought this to me, and I said, holy Christ, this is a great idea. And now you have the pontification from the English professor, and you're going to have Chad's.
It's going to be wrestlers actually making the news, and we're not talking about
the Usos DUIs.
We're not talking about stuff like that. We're talking, I'm gonna go back and all the way, to the mid 40s, all the way up through 80s and 90s, things that happen. And we're not even talking about like the mass transit incident with New Jack and everything.
We will talk about that.
That was a hell of a thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're talking about things. I've just dove into this. Wrestlers being sued from the IRS for not doing this, and these are all documented. United Press, API, dates, court records, stuff. Just
stuff
weird
that
things.
A lot of people don't know.
Yeah, fans assaulting wrestlers.
We talked about that with Baby Doll. Like, she really hated being with Dusty Rhodes. Remember when she lost, Telly lost to Dusty? And
the 30 days.
Yeah. Baby Doll was really scared for her life because Dusty had a play that he didn't like her, this, that, and the other thing. She says it all in the interview, that fans were really beating her up. Like, she hated that 30 days of her whole wrestling career. She said it was scary as shit because people were crazy.
And we all know, and you've seen, it still happens nowadays. The Hall of Fame ceremony last year with the fan attacking Brett. But back in, the 80s and 70s and stuff, where kayfabe was, where the business was protected, did you always kind of think, there's something odd here? Is it fake? I'm not going to say it's fake to one of these guys.
No.
Ask Richard Belzer or Andy Kaufman how that worked out for him.
Right.
But it's just, I just found it interesting, all the different court cases and everything that wrestlers are being sued by, from IRS to fans to promoters to, one of my favorite ones was referees that were hired, diming out the business.
Well, you're going to get all that.
Yeah, it's just real cool to me to hit it.
So he'll think of a name, or combined we'll come together and think of some type of segment name for it. Maybe we'll get him a little song because, God forbid, the English professor had to have a bell and then Sergeant Slaughter saying dismissed. So you need to get some of your own shtick as well, right?
That sounds like a plan. Took you long enough to get me a nickname.
About 6 months you'll get a song. All right. Actually, the English professor is coming up next. Chad, anything else before we touch base next week again?
Not a lot. Not a lot coming up. Not a lot in the news. I'll just say, quick shout out to the Von Erichs, who in MLW last night, with their father by their side, won the tag team titles.
Did.
Pretty cool. The Von Erich dynasty.
I am going to leave this and hit pause as soon as I say it so we can bring it back up next week, Chad. How about all the Jim Cornette death threats from the experience?
Oh, Lord.
The young, gorgeous, obedient wife of Mr. Yamaguchi had been lured from home by the lust and wonder of the Big Valboski. Mrs. Yamaguchi, what else would her name be, surrendered to her passions and banged Val Venus. Mr. Yamaguchi was furious, humiliated, and out for revenge. He ordered his members of Kaientai to avenge his embarrassment in a tag team match against Val Venus and a partner of his choice. Mr. Yamaguchi foreshadowed Venus's fate by using a samurai sword to chop a salami in half. The following week, Venus chose a partner with whom he had no history, whether as a teammate or an opponent, but who happened to also be Japanese. He teamed with Taka Michinoku to take on Funaki and some guy. During the course of the actionless match, Michinoku turned on his partner for seemingly no reason. Was it because Venus was all gimmick and provided no substance between bells? No. It was because Mrs. Yamaguchi was Nei Michinoku. It turned out she was Taka's kid sister. What are the odds? The Japanese wrestlers beat off the Big Valboski until he was limp. Then they dragged him to the locker room and tied him from the ceiling and pulled down his trunks. The Big Valboski was hung, not hanged, But we'll get to an English tip later. And speaking of tips, Mr. Yamaguchi raised his sword while Taka Michinoku held his sister's face, forcing her to watch her lover's beheading. Mr. Yamaguchi shouted, "Me! Chappy! You pee-pee!" Let out a primal groan and wielded his sword. Raw went off the air before we could find out what happened to the Val penis. The following week, we found out that John Wayne Bobbitt, who was not an employee of the WWF or affiliated with them in any manner, somehow found the main switch to the arena's electrical supply and jerked it. By tugging on the cord, Bobbitt saved Venus's wire. A change of the channel would not have done me much good. I probably would have been treated to a 30-minute promo with 30 members of the NWO, none of whom had anything substantial to say. I listened to a podcast recently about meaningless jobs and how the reason our healthcare and education is so expensive has less to do with the salaries of doctors and teachers, but more to do with administrative employees who do absolutely nothing. And in the corporate world, rather than eliminating a position for an employee with nothing to do, the corporation will try to create a task for that employee, however insignificant that chore may be. This seems to be the case with Lana in the WWE. If you've watched even just a preview of that inane WWE reality women's show, you'll note that none of the other women in the WWE have much respect for Lana's abilities as an in-ring talent. She's earned her position because of her husband. The routine of her sending her husband into a jealous rage was fun but short-lived. Once Rusev got so over that there was nothing for WWE to do besides make him a good guy, Lana became just another pretty face. By the way, the fraternity was getting over like crazy in IWC. They even had the Can Crusher marks dressing up like them. With a need for them to remain heels, Justin Plummer booked the fraternity to beat the crap out of Britt Baker. Mark and I had an impossible time processing what we were seeing as Channing Decker and Trent Gibson smacked the mayor around and laughed about it. I saw Plummer take a deep breath during this segment, perhaps in character, perhaps debating how his controversial booking would be received by fans. In any case, instead of sticking to their Disneyland-style scripts, the big guys could take some notes from our guys in Pittsburgh on how to create a hated heel. For the last few weeks, Lana has hooked up with Bobby Lashley and has mocked her husband with vignettes of her in bed with the former MMA star. This week on Raw, the husband and wife finally met on the King's Court so Lana could let the world know why she left her husband, in the event that there was actually one fan who cared. For 3 hours, Jerry Lawler reminded us that the King's Court could become divorce court. At about the 2 hour and 30-minute mark, I realized WWE intended to close the show with this segment, which was too bad because Raw had some very good matches and segments, including Becky Lynch tapping out Kairi Sane after the Kabuki Warriors blinded their former manager with Kabuki Mist, and Ricochet beating Drew McIntyre when Randy Orton hit one of the most devastating RKOs I've ever seen, yes, out of nowhere. Of course, that clown R-Truth was on the show and pulled focus from a true talent in Buddy Murphy. But otherwise, Raw, albeit way too long as always, was still a solid show. And yet this is how they chose to end this episode. Rusev professed his love, with the King noticing that the Bulgarian Brute was still wearing his wedding ring. Lana said the reason she left Rusev was because he always wanted sex. He wanted it in the early morning, late morning, early afternoon, late afternoon, etc., etc. Lana said her predictable lines as Lawler looked like a second heart attack couldn't hit him fast enough. Like the 8th inning of a blowout, I imagine many fans started to make their way to the aisles. Lana left her husband because he wanted too much sex. So she hooked up with another guy and has been having plenty of sex with him. Makes sense. But that wasn't the truth. Lana admitted it wasn't the sex. It was that Rusev wants a family. Rusev admitted to wanting a family, but he said he wasn't pressuring her. Lana admitted that wasn't the truth either. At this point, these poor people were doing the best that they could with this garbage. If they were ad-libbing to kill time, I can forgive them. If someone wrote this, he or she should be removed from the WWE creative team. Finally, we got to the matter at hand. Lana said Rusev cheated on her. To her credit, she said it with conviction and spunk. The problem is, no one cared. When asked what evidence she had of Rusev's infidelity, Lana said that Lashley told her. She didn't bother to check with her husband? She didn't ask Lashley how he knew about this? She just took this accusation at face value? Lashley ran in the ring and fought with Rusev. It ended predictably with Lana and Rusev arguing while Lashley hit Rusev in his Big Valboski. In 1998, that episode of Raw likely contained segments with Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Kane, The Undertaker, and Mankind. It ended with a gorgeous but terrible actress phoning in phony emotions. 21 years later, and not much has changed. The difference is that in 1998, there weren't a lot of options. We can turn the channel and be bored by Hollywood Hogan passing the mic to Razor and Diesel, who passed it to Scott Norton, who passed it to Scott Steiner, who passed it to Kurt Hennig, who passed it to Virgil. But now we have options. And while the shows are by no means perfect and have a long way to go to truly be competitive, viable options include NWA and AEW. Of course, there are no other options for wrestling on a Monday night, but the option remains to just not watch. And recent ratings have told us that's what fans have chosen to do. As promised, in today's English Tip of the Week, we'll look at the difference between hung and hanged. Both are the past tense of hanged. But when do we use hung and when do we use hanged? If you're angry or annoyed that we have two words for the past tense of one word, perhaps you'll find solace in knowing that the words were derived from two old words from our English ancestors. But here's the simple distinction. Always use hung, except when talking about a person who was sentenced to death by a rope around his neck. It's that simple. The Salem witch hung out at her house and was hanged for no reason. Big Boss Man was judge, jury, and executioner to his opponents. Had he sentenced an opponent to death by hanging, would they have been hung or hanged? Remember, his opponent is going to die by hanging from a rope. So the answer is B, hanged. Hollywood Hogan and the Outsiders sat in the back enjoying the Hulkster's birthday cake. Would we say they hung out in the back or they hanged out in the back? No one died with a rope around his neck. So the answer is A, they hung out in the back. And with that, class,
you're dismissed.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Randall Floyd, the three-time Ohio Valley Wrestling Television Champion, and you right now are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
I told you we'd be all over the place with everybody, and that's just the way it's going to be. We're going to continue to do this, in and out, grabbing other people's thoughts and whatever. That's just the way Can Crushers is going to go. Thanks to Soup. Thanks to Chad. As always, thanks to the English professor. He'll just get a bigger head because I thanked him this week. But not a lot going on in November for Can Crushers. We just did Winner Takes All for IWC. Now we're going to step back until the end of November when Chad and I head down to WrestleCade. Why? Because we're going to spend a lot of money, and neither one of us want to piss our wives off wholeheartedly. Mine is already upset because it's her birthday weekend, but she worked with me and we did a little bit extra, so I love you, Kelly. We'll step back and say that. So that's not a lot coming up until then. December, we'll be back at it full force. There's an Asylum event in December. There's IWC December 7th. So we'll get you all those. We will. And we'll talk about some of them maybe even next week. But just know that there's nothing going on this week with the Can Crushers. Besides our spotlight and our weekly show, we will not be heading to any wrestling as we're taking the week off. Number 2, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at CanCrusher69. Make sure you continue to keep voting for our Trials of Trios tournament, as there are some pretty freaking big matchups coming up here in the near future. We had a tie last week, and the Dynasty was eliminated, as well as, why can I not remember, SCU were both eliminated because there was a draw. So we have a new team stepping in, and that match will be this Thursday. Make sure you check out this Thursday's match at 9 o'clock in the morning, and make sure you vote for the correct team. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. Big team, big team coming in. Guys, make sure you check out our Facebook. It is Can Crusher 69. That's not what I wanted to say. Check out our website at cancrushers69.wixsite.com / Can Crushers. You'll be able to hear all our shows from there. You'll be able to see some events that we're going to. You see that we work with Collar and Elbow. When you check out of Collar and Elbow, type in Can Crushers. Capital C in Can, capital C in Crushers, all one word, and you'll get 10% off of your entire order. So you can buy a new hoodie there, like some of us need to, because in the move you lost your Can Crushers Collar and Elbow hoodie, so you have to now go buy another one. So make sure you check out all the merch there at Collar and Elbow and use Can Crushers, as you'll get money off and you'll help support our podcast. Secondly, don't forget to support Cauliflower Alley Club. Make sure you check them out. Become a member, as what proceeds they get. They are a nonprofit organization that helps wrestlers in need with medicals or funeral expenses. Please go back and listen to all our shows. But if you want to know more about Cauliflower Alley Club, go back and listen to our B. Brian Blair spotlight, as he touches on it pretty hardcore. And we are a strong supporter of the Cauliflower Alley Club here on Can Crushers. Next, if you want to ask us any questions, do anything, we'd like to start really having a question and answer. You guys send us some questions on the old email, and our email is cancrushers69@gmail.com. Send us in some questions. We'd love to answer them. Any type of questions, even if it's what's my favorite color. It's green, but nonetheless, we want to answer questions for you guys on air. We'll say your name if you want us to, or we won't. Just send us something anonymously. That's one of the segments that we'd love to start at the tail end of our shows as, hey, what did you guys actually think of Bray Wyatt winning the Universal Championship in the red light? Well, the red light sucks. I hate it. I'm happy that Bray Wyatt wins the championship. Where they're going to go with this, I don't know, but get rid of the red freaking light. So, there you go. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Buzzsprout. Any place that you can find a podcast, Can Crushers is there. So, guys, thank you for always supporting us. We love you. We love getting the 4, 5, 6 of us at times on here to talk wrestling and have such a wonderful Can Crusher Nation supporting us. The numbers continue to grow. It's unbelievable how many people like listening to us rant about wrestling, and we love doing it. So, guys, support us any way you possibly can. We have some merch coming here in the near future. We got some new stickers out. Drop us an email, as we're just looking to promote as much as we can, and we'd love to get you one that way. But remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot. Watch wrestling, support your indie wrestlings. OVW is out there as well for $4.99 a month.